What's going on? We back, Motor City Sports Talk. We in the building. We're going to double dip with this Pistons video. Then right after this, we're going to drop a Lions video. And we on the push for 1,000 subs, subscribers for y'all that don't know who subs is. So share the videos. And if you haven't subscribed, hit the bell icon so you know we upload. And when we do go live for videos, man. So usually Saturdays we go live, for videos, man. We enter the dog days after camp is over with and OTAs until training camp starts in July. But, we'll still talk some sports as well. But, it was a debate. I seen a question on Facebook, who's better, the bad boy Pistons, we'd say the first one, 88-89, or the 04 Detroit Pistons, who beat those Laker teams and beat that Laker team that was seen as indestructible. I want to say this. I think Isaiah Thomas was the best player on both teams, hands down. But styles make fights, styles make matchups, and it'd have been very, very interesting, man. It'd have been very, very interesting. Both came from different eras, I must say that. Both after winning championships, the league kind of changed how you play defense. When the Pistons won it, they changed the defensive rules a little bit more. The 05, 04 Pistons, they changed the defense a little bit different. And then obviously, the Jordan rules, after Jordan went to cry to Commissioner Stern, he took the physical play away. They added flagrants and technical fouls and fines and suspensions and all that. That was because of the bad boys and how physical it really was. But the 70s was way more physical than the Pistons was playing, but nobody ever complained. But when you the team that in 88, 89, 89, 90 team Pistons, when you that team that wasn't expected to rise from the trenches or rise for the gutter and overthrow the Lakers and the Celtics, they did everything to try to stop them from winning that championship. First, 87, 88, when they started to say Bill Laimbeer fired Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and they didn't. They stole that from him. So they both came over their trials and tribulations, man. But the 04 Pistons, man. They acquired Rasheed Wallace. It was a very, very deep team. From Chauncey, Rip, Tayshaun, to Rasheed, to Ben Wallace, to Corliss Williamson, the Memento Core, to Mike James, to Lindsey Hunter. It was a very, very deep team, man. Very, very deep. And they defended well. It was a good team. They played together, They defended. They might not always been offensive juggernaut. They did have their lows offensively. And the old bad boy Pistons, 88, 89, they defended too. I think they had a better offense as well, man. Joe Dumars and Isaiah Thomas, that's a hell of a backcourt. That was a hell of a backcourt. And I think Joe Dumars was the Finals MVP as well that year. And Robin was a good defender. He had Mark Aguirre, who was a solid player. He was a former number overall pick. He went right before Isaiah. Bill Laimbeer, who was the guy that did the dirty work. She could kind of stretch it out a little bit as well, too. Then you don't forget you got the microwave coming off the bench. You had, Rick Mahorn on that first team that did the dirty work. So, it would have been a battle. It would have been a battle, man. I think ultimately it would have came down to, who had the better shot makers and shot takers. Who had the better offense. Because both teams could defend. Both teams could. Both teams were tough. I think the Pistons had the newer Pistons had more interior offense, man, with Rasheed Wallace in the post. Remember they had Memento Core who could post up and stretch it out. Corliss Williamson, he was a bully down on the block. I think interior, the newer Pistons team, 04 Pistons, the going to work Pistons, I believe they had more interior offense, man. But with the Yankees, the bad boys had great interior defense. But do I think anybody on there that legitimately could have stopped Rasheed Wallace? Only Rasheed Wallace stops Rasheed Wallace. Rasheed Wallace never was that aggressive superstar, and that's why in Portland, the Los Angeles Lakers end up coming back from 20 points and beating them. Rasheed was very, very, like he wasn't soft, but he was like, his demeanor was, I'd just rather be one of the guys than be the guy, And ultimately, when Rasheed got mad, then he started posting up. And do I see anybody with the Pistons that could have stopped Rasheed while he was mad? I mean, Bill Laimbeer would have tried to get under the skin. Rick Mahorn tried to be physical, but then, she was the type of big fella that could take it out on the perimeter and shoot the ball as well, too. So I think she would have been a problem matchup. I think I would have had a problem with Ben Wallace on the boards. So on the interior, the going to work Pistons were tough. Very, very tough. You go to the backcourt, Rip Hamilton, running around Joe Dumars, Chauncey, and Isaiah Thomas. Those were tough matchups as well, too, for both teams. But you had Dennis Rodman, who was the dirty work guy. He was the guy at the time that was a perimeter defender, guard all five. I mean, who would you put him on the Pistons? He can guard from anywhere from Ben. Why would you guard Ben? You can guard Sheed. I mean, Rip, Isaiah, he can guard them all. I mean, Rip, Chauncey, he can guard them all. But then for the older Pistons, for the bad boy Pistons, they were just better offensively. They averaged more points per game than the 04 Pistons. And the 04 going to work Pistons was in an era where still before they won it, the NBA tilted it to the offense's favor. They really did. They really did. You can it was more easy to get buckets in that era than it was in the old era. It depends. And also you can't forget about the coaching matchup. Chuck Daly, Larry Brown. That's a legendary matchup right there. Legendary. And people will say, well, one team won 2 championships and 1-1-1. That don't have nothing to do with nothing. Who better? If you line them up, player for player, Chauncey versus Isaiah, Joe versus Rip, Tayshaun, Rodman, Mahorn, Rasheed, or Ben and Bill Laimbeer. If you line them up and let them play with Vinny coming off the bench and John Sally and all, you line them up and play, who gonna win? And that's a tough matchup. That's a tough question, dog. Because obviously, I think that first Piston team, because of the rules, they were, bad boys. Their defense was great. They defended and they scored. The going to work Pistons, they defended and they scored, but they had a lot of times where they couldn't buy a bucket, man. But their defense would just pull them through. You had Chauncey Billups, who was the floor general, great shooter. Knew to get people in position. You had Larry Brown that made the adjustments, and that depth they had was serious, dog. Remember Eldon Campbell coming off the bench? They had they had big serious threat depth, but they really never had a guy who wanted to be the guy. Everybody wanted to be one of the guys, and that's when Chauncey got the name Mr. Big Shot. Because when the going got tough, Chauncey knew when to turn it on and be the guy. He knew, we need a bucket, Chauncey would go get the bucket. Or Chauncey would make the play to get the bucket. Easily. That was that team. It was Chauncey was very important, and Ben Wallace was the heart and soul of that team, man. Because when Ben Wallace left that team, it was over with, man. That's when the Piston era was over with. When that guy left the team, and not only that, that's when his career was over with. He didn't know how much of a fit and tailor-made he was to be a Detroit Piston. He left for a couple more million, or how many more million he left for. His legacy, his game was done. When he went to Chicago to play for Scott Skiles, it was over with, man. It was over with. And obviously, how would I see this game playing out? To go ahead and in the video, it'll be a game of matchups. It'll be a defensive jailhouse type of defense, man. Defensive game. I like Isaiah and the Chauncey matchup. That'll be interesting. Nobody can really handle Isaiah one-on-one. I believe he has some of the greatest handles of all time. Joe Dumars was a good defender, get up in you. It'll be very, very interesting, man. It'll be very, very interesting. But ultimately, I believe that the 88-89 Pistons were better offense, and I think they would have been better defense. I think the offense, would have saved them. I think guys that can go get big shots and create their own shot and really go, really go get it and be superstar scorers and Isaiah and Vinny Johnson, and Joe Dumars. I think those guys offensively would have been a difference, and I just think that defensively it could have been a wash, But I think Isaiah is a superstar, a Hall of Famer, all-time great. He's the best player on the floor, bar none. Bar none. And I'm going with the best player on the floor, and Isaiah Thomas, willing his team to victory. And I believe the bad boy Pistons had two of the best scorers, or possibly two of the best scorers on the floor. And Isaiah Thomas and Vinnie Johnson, if you want to put them on the floor. They can go get you a bucket and get hot. And don't forget about Mark Aguirre. And even before they traded that, Adrian Dantley. Adrian Dantley was a prolific scorer in the league. It would have been a dogfight, fellas, but I just think ultimately the 88-89 Pistons would have pulled it out. I feel that they superstars, they superstar in Isaiah Thomas. Give me the best. When all things are equal, defense, offense, give me the team with the best player on the floor. And I said Isaiah Thomas. And you could have made an argument that Joe Dumars might have been the second best player on the floor. We know Dennis Rodman was the best defender out of both teams, easily. But when it boils down to it, and I think it would have been a good game, possibly a close game, I think when you boil down to it, give me the best player in Isaiah Thomas on the floor to make something happen. Big shot. He was the original Mr. Big Shot. And then you got the microwave and Joe Dumars. You got guys like that. And that first Pistons team, they did something legendary. They beat those Lakers, man, when people didn't think they could beat the Los Angeles Lakers. Karl Malone, Gary Payton, Shaq, Kobe. That was an amazing run. And don't forget Tayshaun Prince block on Reggie Miller when he ran him down. Don't forget that. That team had magic as well, too, and they should have won, too. Rasheed Wallace was looking at that the other day, left Robert Horry, the inbounders, open. And when Robert Horry shot that shot, that deflated me. Even before he took it, I knew he was going to make it. I seen Robert Horry do it several times before. And we didn't win another one. And that team deserved to win another one. When you win the championship, a lot of guys leave, man. Teams look different. Eventually Ben left, and eventually they broke up the team. And we know what happened with the Bad Boys. It's a lot of different things that went on with them. They made a lot of playoff runs. Jordan, they kind of changed the rules, but Jordan was coming. Nothing was going to stop Michael Jordan. And both came to their demise. But I think over a course of a 4-quarter game, I think the original Bad Boys would probably win 105 to about probably about 92. I got the 88-89 Bad Boys, beating them 04 Pistons, in my opinion. And, maybe somebody can make a case for the 04 Pistons for winning it. And you probably could. This is just a hypothetical. It never happened. You can never get these guys on the court or on their physical prime. But Motor City Sports Talk, look out for another video from me this morning coming after this. Appreciate it. Share.